Hello, welcome to Twin Bill. The answer to the joke, what do you call it when two ducks star on Broadway together? Yep, true story. I'm Jasonluna. This is my twin brother Marcus. Hello. Uh, yeah, so our movie review podcast, hopefully you know that by now. Marcus, last week, because of timing issues with the Zoom recording, we did not give our final verdict on Creepshow, and for personal reasons, because Creepshow opened my imagination to both horror films and the dark, satiric comedy of like old EC comics and the Tales from the Crypt TV show. I kind of have to give Tales from the Crypt a like 9.5 out of 10 just for structural nostalgia. What do you think?
Well, the plot was predictable. I like the comic book tie-in effect. I give it an 8 out of 10 for its creativity.
Nice. So I have a new format to end the ratings, but we'll get there when we get there. Oh boy. Excitement, raising wild.
Can't wait.
Can't do it. Okay, I was doing different. That was a Darrell Revis.
It was Bart Scott who
Bart Scott, yeah.
trademark Can't Wait. Or he said he would. I don't know if he did it actually.
Bart Scott. What a legal scamp. All right. This week we're talking about Predators. I think you hinted at this last week, but briefly tell the people why you wanted to watch this movie about Jeffrey Epstein. Hey-oh. And Ghislaine Maxwell. Hey-oh.
I'll disregard that joke. So I watched Predators. What's it called? Killers Among Killers on Hulu.
Just Predator, Killer of Killers, only one Predator. I mean, yeah, whatever. Singular word.
And I really enjoyed it. And I realized, there's a new Predator movie, whatever that one's called, looming.
Let's not talk about that because it's not a spoiler show. We'll keep going, yeah.
Whatever. But I was thinking about, have I watched all the Predator movies? And I thought about it. No, I've seen on TV clips of Predators, Raul Rodriguez produced film that we're reviewing today. But I wanted to watch the whole thing, so I could say I've seen every Predator movie except for all of the Alien vs. Predators. I saw one, and then that's not worth pursuing. So just Predator movies. This is to finish those. That's why I picked this movie.
Got it. So I guess get right into it because this movie gets right into it.
Drops you in.
Get Adrian Brody falling out of a plane. I thought that was a very clever well, I was gonna say clever and captivating opening, which is true, but also it was just such a relief that it wasn't like, in the year 2027, the Predator program was illegal. Respect my Predator authority. But yeah, it was very cool to be like, oh, they're just gonna keep going with this, and we don't have to have like dialogue explaining why he's falling out of the plane or where he came from or whatever. So refreshing as an opening. And,
yeah. I guess in retrospect, that was a spaceship, huh?
Yeah, they actually left a lot of those details still vague, quote unquote, to this day, because the movie doesn't really go backwards and be like, this will happen on Earth or whatever. So it's like, it was probably, similar to the spaceship. Spoiler alert? I don't know. But he found at the end of the movie and didn't get on or whatever.
I mean, at this point, everyone knows they're aliens, so.
I know, but, well, my point was at the end of the movie, they have a big science fiction-y thing where he finds the ship. That's probably what he was on when he fell out or whatever. Yeah. But yes, the movie simplistically implies this is Earth in some for a little while, not too long, in some vague, gigantic, never-ending jungle CGI thing.
It looked like a Costa Rican jungle. But in actuality, this movie was filmed in Hawaii, so that kind of makes sense.
Wow, they found a lot of overgrowth for Hawaii. I mean, I guess inland Hawaii has some stuff in it. Interesting. Uh, I guess it's kind of early to bring this up, but we could come back to it maybe. But positive, and I think more of a negative maybe. This movie is, it's set in the jungle. You've got bombastic score.
Yeah.
This movie seemed like it was like really tipping its hat, like, no, guys, this is really like Predator One.
Yeah. It's the setting is exactly the same as, and that's actually why I said Costa Rica, because she even alludes. They make a reference to it. I don't know if it's her. Was it her mother? Was the woman in Predator? No, I don't think they said that.
They did say something. No, she read about it or something. She didn't.
Because she's a sniper from Latin America, so I guess she works for the government in that area. So
Yeah.
she knew about the events in Arnie's Predator film.
It's a weird cop out because they don't. Did they even address that Arnold Schwarzenegger was theoretically alive?
No, they don't have the budget for that.
That's an interesting side anecdote. We're not going to talk about that movie because we both like it and it's very negative. But the Predator by Shane Black. I don't know if you knew this. Fun fact: there's a post-credit scene where they give the main character guy. I don't know who that actor is, but they give him a superpower at the end in the post-credit scene.
I don't know if I watched this.
Post-credit scene where the boy's like, "We invented this thing," and he comes out of a device and he's like, "I got this power now," or whatever. It was very weird.
Just saying, I would remember the main character guy's name if I thought.
Whatever. That's not important. That's not the important part. So in the movie, he just comes out and he's the same guy with a power, and it's kind of like, oh, okay. See you in the sequel, I guess. But did you know Shane Black actually asked Arnold Schwarzenegger to come out of the machine?
I did not know that.
Arnold Schwarzenegger said no.
I was governor. I don't do Predators anymore. Yeah.
Arnold Schwarzenegger is very sensitive about his aging, as we all should be, I guess. I don't know. Moving on. That's where I've heard. So a very interesting connection. Speaking of connections to the first movie, so an underrated thing about the first movie is because obviously you got Arnold Schwarzenegger, Jesse Ventura, that is he Latin American? The guy who was like rips his shirt off and he's like, "Come at me, bro!" and they kill him. We're talking about
First movie?
yeah. There's not one of the rare not famous guys in Predator, and he's like a Latin American or
Inside Baseball. I wish you told me about. We're going to talk about that movie because I could.
whatever.
That's
Whatever. All my point was also not known as a good actor, but then we also has Carl Weathers, who I think is an underrated actor, very good actor,
Very much so.
and Bill Duke, who is your I was gonna say
A fine character actor.
Yeah,
I would say he's great, but
he's a director, so I mean, pretty good actor. But this movie, bagat. We've got, as mentioned, Adrian Brody, star of The Pianist.
careful how you say that one.
Penis. And then, what's his name? The guy who's not in Blade and was in Moonlight.
Mahershala Ali.
Got him in there.
His credits, he went with a longer last name in this movie. Mahershala Ali Schatz or something.
Schatz. Sounds like a Jewish lawyer. Okay, moving on. Schatz.
So he shortened his name for Hollywood later on, which is weird. He didn't do that from the get-go because most actors
Yeah, I mean, it
change their name.
doesn't matter what genre, performance, pretty small role too. But anyway, we got those two, and then we got Walton Goggins, who has not won an Academy Award yet, but I think has won an Emmy. If not, he's very close. Everyone likes him. So we've got like a titanically Academy Award inclined cast of main actors in this movie, and it's very weird. Your thoughts?
Well, yeah, it's for Goggins and Mahershala. It was before they sort of became famous. And
So they're still good actors, though. That was kind of my point. Yeah.
and for Adrian Brody, it felt like he and his agent wanted him to do an action movie to show he can't just do Oscar drama stuff.
So it's what Cuba Gooding Jr. does not want me to call the Cuba Gooding Jr. effect. He's like, I want an Oscar. I'm going to redeem myself by starring in straight-to-video action movies.
Cuba Gooding Jr. effect might also be how he touches women, but
Okay. I have to cut that. yeah, I like how we have direct action. I guess summarize the plot for people who are listening to this instead of watching the movie. You fools! We're not as entertaining as a movie. But so I don't know. Okay, the premise is like fun to follow in the first act, and I think it sort of undermines a lot of the character things later on. But it's kind of cool because Adrian Brody lands, and you think he's getting shot at by the Russian guy, but it turns out the Russian guy is also just randomly falling off of a plane and getting into this. And we sort of unveil our cast as all of these sort of, as it turns out later, kind of almost hackneyed, Dirty Dozen type criminal stereotypes.
Yeah. They're all kind of soldiers of fortune except for a couple of them.
Like, spoiler alert, Topher Grace.
Well, I was gonna say non-spoiler, like Walton Goggins, who was in a prison jumpsuit the whole movie because he was literally on death row.
Right, but I mean, they're obviously implying he's also not necessarily a soldier of fortune, but he's really good at the shanks. So
Yes, the Predators did research. They didn't just pick criminals; they picked people who have a skillful ability to kill people in the past.
So yeah, at the beginning of the movie, I didn't think about it too much. Like, oh, this is weird, because it did become weird. But I was digging it because it was like he's finding each member of the cast, and they don't know where they are, and they just keep going. It's very like streamlined action, and I think that falls apart halfway through the movie. But we'll get there in a second. All right. Yeah, I don't know about you, but I was kind of bummed because obviously we saw this movie. I don't know. Let's not get into too specifics, but decades after it came out or whatever.
15 years, I think. Yeah.
Yeah. So the reveal when they get on the mountain, which is there's a couple Star Trek episodes that are just like this, by the way. But they get up on the mountain and they see the moons and the stuff, and it's like, yeah, we're not on Earth. I felt like the marketing for the Predators movie kind of took away a lot of the like, wow, that's a cool twist.
Yeah. Wish movies would do that more, where the previews could have been like almost lied and said they're on Earth fighting predators, and then by God they're on a planet. But
Yeah, they could have done like a, I don't know if they have the rights, but they could have done like a legacy match cut where because they do they almost the exact same shot in both movies. Where in the first Predator, I don't know. When they first discover the Predator, their big idea is they try to cordon off a section of the forest, and they just start shooting their machine guns into the forest. There's a very similar scene in the new one. They could have just like made a preview that like sort of like was like, this is like the first one. That was funny. That was funnier in the first movie than the second movie, but that diminishing returns, I guess.
I don't blame the studio because it's trying to make the appeal of the like old reference, the most dangerous game. It's a movie from like 1930 or something, or it's human something humans. So it's like that except it's Predator something humans. There's an appeal for an audience for that, I think, especially set in the jungle of the beloved.
Well, yeah.
1987 Arnie film.
It's also a baked-in underdog story because the
Predators are very good at killing and very big and strong.
yeah. So yeah, it's interesting. 'Cause I was thinking of Predator. Let's talk about every Predator movie vaguely with no preparation. So, Predator 2, terrible movie, pretty much. But the one thing about Predator 2 was that the LA setting was very clear and distinct, and you can't be like, oh, that's like Predator 1. And this movie I felt like was hurt by being like Predator 1. That was my other point.
I suppose.
So, one of the hardest things to judge in a movie, I mean, well, actually, it's very easy to judge. Hardest thing to judge positively is computer graphics from literally not this year. It feels like sometimes, and instead of showing us predators right away, we get their like dogs, and I felt like this was a pretty lazy design. They're like alien dogs with like antlers and they sort of treat them like they're kind of the big bads for like 5 minutes, and I felt like it was kind of it didn't quite layer into the CGI that good and stuff. Your thoughts?
The CGI was okay.
Did you like the dogs? I think that was clever. That was clever addition to the oeuvre.
I thought there were good action scenes, them getting chased and some of them getting jumped on by the dogs, and they're fighting for their lives to not get killed by the dogs. They're okay. Not as good as the Predators. I think it did hurt them a little. Well, I guess it was stating the obvious, but Adrian Brody, when it's over, says they sent their dogs to flush us out, because that's what I would have done.
It was a little cheesy, but I like that because it was. I mean, we'll get more into that more, but they sort of setting up Adrian Brody as the hyper intelligent analyst. I liked a lot of those turns where he was smarter than everyone else and outsmarted the Predators and stuff. Yeah.
It's kind of weird how everyone fell in line. He was basically the leader from the beginning.
Well, I mean, it was also kind of weird that, because he seemed like a nice guy, and they were kind of setting up a turn that he was going to be such a bad guy on Earth, but he really wasn't by far at all the worst human being of the mercenaries or whatever. Not really. It's just kind of like a noble guy the whole movie, pretty close.
Yeah, it was weird because everyone says what they do, and he says, "I'm not going to talk about it. I'm just going to keep walking," or whatever. And then I thought that was going to build to a scene where he says some horrible thing he did, but that never materializes.
Yeah, if this was a creep show / Tales from the Crypt segment, we would have revealed that he was actually some horrific monster, and
I'm the guy who brought you all here.
Yeah, it was like, and it was a total misdirect, and the Predators were correct in killing him or something like that, and yeah. Just like, well, spoiler alert, Topher Grace, but moving on. Get there eventually. Oh, yeah, that was a very clever action movie thing. Reminded me a lot of Die Hard. Anything that's good in action movies reminds me of Die Hard. But, because they go to they find this whole setup where, well, I guess we address this first. Why were the Predators in, like, stone cocoons where they're alive and you cut them down and they're alive or something? Or were they dead?
Cocoons?
There was they'd find a predator like hung up, strung up, and then it would come down.
Come down. There's the one that's tied up that helps them at the end. There's cocoons too.
Not cocoons. I just meant like tied up, like because it reminded me a little of gestation because it up in the tree, sitting there. But yeah. So why were they tied up then? Because it being punished by other predators, or?
Yeah, he even says, I figure that guy's tied up because they hate as much as we have a common enemy, and then he ties him down, he cuts him down at the end.
So wait, who's the common enemy of the Predator of the Predator movie?
I guess there's Predator versus Predator, because don't you remember there was two Predators fighting each other at the end of the movie?
Honestly, the ending was, I was kind of zoning out, but I definitely thought it was more direct, like just Predators trying to hunt down the baby faces. But the whole point was they go to that first enclave with the Predator in the stone tree or whatever, and Adrian Brody disappears, and they're getting attacked, and Adrian Brody sneaks up around and starts shooting, and he says he had to see what the layout was before he acted. I thought that was a fucking brilliant action movie move. Made total sense. They didn't have to like dwell on it or explain it or anything.
Yeah. If he'd said what he was doing, he might have spared Mahershala Ali, but...
Yeah. I killed that guy. What is this, a Wes Craven horror movie? All right, moving on. No, nice to Wes Craven. It's not like, he probably did it less than anyone else, but more like Friday the 13th.
I feel like action movies kill off more... Well, no, horror and action movies kill a lot of black people.
Most movies kill black people, it's true. Yeah. The notes are getting a lot more general and critical. So, I guess I'll just push this on one section. So, when the movie really fell apart for me, at least slowed down, it's a combination of things, but basically, before Larry Fishburne, and especially during Larry Fishburne, I don't want to call him Larry Fishburne, we're not best friends, Lawrence Fishburne, another Academy Award winning caliber actor. Did you ever win one?
I don't believe so. I don't have them all memorized.
Kind of a shame because he was in some really good meaty acting roles in the 90s. Yeah. Anyway, he's a very good actor. So they do this whole thing where, I don't know, I'm sure you remember the plot better than me, but basically they think he's a predator and he helps them out for a little while.
He has a predator helmet on, so with dreads and everything. I guess dreads are part of the helmet. I don't know.
It's kind of, I mean,
I guess it's a scalp, kind of.
If you think about it too hard, like middle-aged Lawrence Fishburne is the greatest predator player of all time. It's like, it's kind of old. But,
well, everyone there is a Black Ops, Navy SEAL, top of their game type of guy. So
anyway,
a certain set of skills. Liam Neeson.
There's two types of things that happen, just very generically, that really push the movie down. Because the cool part about the beginning is we don't get any backstory, we don't get any character dialogue. We just go straight into the action. We're following the plot. Like let's figure out what this planet is. Blah blah blah. And then you get a lot of character dialogue that felt very flat because it's just a bunch of like archetypes from Earth talking about themselves. And then Lawrence Fishburne scene, they go into his cave and he has like schizophrenia or whatever, and he's talking to himself and they're just sitting in the dark. It felt like it was going on for ages. Why was he talking so much and why did nothing happen?
I think that was a pretty lame movie stereotype of when you live by yourself for so long you go crazy.
Yeah, and if he was having like sassy dialogue, almost like he's talking to his wife or something like that. It was very, I don't know.
Disagreeing roommates were the two characters in his brain.
And then the art design on that cave, because it's so dark, all you really see is like the flamey orange outlines, and it's got like lines on it.
I don't get it, because it looked like a spaceship almost, but then they're looking. It's not, because they're not saying, "Oh, we're in a ship." They're saying we're looking for another ship. So it's like the hull of something, because there's so much metal and stuff. So
I got a question, because I'm gonna stop saying spoiler alert, but so first of all, explain to me, because there's a lot of like things going on. Lawrence Fishburne does something, the predators see it, they go in. Why or how did Lawrence Fishburne want the predators to kill everyone?
To get their equipment.
To get their equipment? You mean the other people?
All the humans' equipment, yes. He wanted to hoard everything they had.
So he wanted to get them killed by the predators and then reap the benefits afterwards?
He also said something while arguing with his second person within his brain, that I don't have enough water or food to feed 8 mouths, or I think it was 8 because it was 9 initially, and then Mahershala Ali was killed.
So anyway, yes, that's true. I don't know. Well, so much talk. The problem with scenes where it's visually undynamic and there's a lot of talking is that you kind of lose a lot of the things you're supposed to pick up. But so he tries to sabotage the heroes to get killed, but inversely he gets killed. What and how much do you think Lawrence Fishburne added to this movie? Because I think he almost ruined it for me.
Started off cool. I mean, it's been done in action movies before, but I would argue it's almost cool every time it's done. Take off his mask and reveal it's him and be like, "Come with me if you want to live," sort of thing. It's kind of cool. I don't know. I kind of like the "Welcome to my home" talking. I appreciate getting to know them better. They bounced around the different guys and they talked. You know that the Yakuza guy speaks English, and things like that.
Yeah.
I'm confused by how he was able to lock them in like that.
Well, yeah, like you said, it was unclear where they were. It was like a orange bathed subterranean space station or something.
So I don't know.
I'm just saying overarching plot wise, like not even like it's fair to give a quick critical review, but from a plot wise, what did that add? Because he's dead and they have to keep going. So what did that middle part where he's alive and talking to them add to the movie on a structural level?
It's kind of like a catalyst for moving the plot along almost. Just it. A movie should flow where you don't even notice it, but in the end, you do notice how much of a catalyst he acts as for the plot.
Yeah.
So it's not good.
Yeah. So you're talking about how, you liked how the characters talking, you learn more about them, and that's totally fair. But my issue with a large ensemble cast is that, in hindsight, I start sort of picking characters that overlap or were not as integral to my enjoyment of the story. Like, it was nice that the Russian guy was nice, and we have the Yakuza guy who speaks English. He's nice. But I don't think he need both characters in the movie.
Guess. The Yakuza guy invites swordplay, which does end up happening, and then
Yes, that was pretty good.
could have done without the KGB guy, I guess. I don't like rewriting people's movies.
Fair enough.
But yes, it could have worked. I mean, we could have turn this podcast into what iterations of the villain of the cast could work. I think it could have been a decent movie with just Adrian Brody and the Mexican sniper girl or whatever ancestry she is.
Ensemble movies are very difficult. Often they go into the type of movies we have no interest in seeing, like Expendables and...
Sonia Braga is your actress.
It's very hard to make an ensemble movie that stays an ensemble movie and really has an indelible impact, because movie goers want to identify with the core protagonist.
Yeah. It was very Dirty Dozen.
Yes, most literally.
Magnificent Seven.
Well, Dirty Dozen, obviously, because...
And Predator, too. But
for you kids who don't remember, who don't cherish 1960s, what's his name? The Western bad guy?
Lee Marvin?
Yeah, we go cherish Lee Marvin movies.
Wasn't sure if you're talking about Lee Marvin or John Cassavetes or Jim Brown.
It's a little different
Telly Savalas.
because they're quote unquote recruited, although they're in jail, so they pretty much have to do whatever they're told. But prisoners, who are a lot of them are murderers and stuff, are told to go fight Nazis. So it's a lot of overlap with this and the Predators movie. But
Yeah.
so, it's fair to debate whether or not characters are integral, or you keep, like you say, keep characters as is because it's they made a movie, blah blah blah. But the third act, let's call it third act.
It felt like one big act, but whatever.
Yeah, I mean, well, I think it was the intro felt like it was gonna be a whole one act movie, and then the Lawrence Fishburne served as sort of a quick act two because it changed the dynamic, and Lawrence Fishburne was telling them things that made things seem harder or more impossible, blah, blah, and then they're galvanized into their final action because the aliens kill Lawrence Fishburne, and blah. But anyway...
They have no choice but to call the Predators to free them from the entrapment that they're in.
Yes.
Which is very risky, because they could have used a big enough bomb to just blow up everyone inside, but they very conveniently blow up a door.
Well, obviously, in hindsight, it was a terrible plan if the idea was to have people be alive, but I guess the whole idea is that it's a high-stakes, worst-case scenario, whatever, because
they're also hoping to kill them when they come in to...
And they failed. Well, they didn't fail, but yeah, they kind of failed. Because
Yes.
I had a point to make.
Sorry.
We're talking about how, the cast is integral or whatever, and according to you, I am somewhat resistant to say, let's rewrite in our heads a movie where it's just Adrian Brody, but they just start randomly killing off, thinning the herd.
Yeah.
And it kind of makes them seem pointless in hindsight. I have to admit, it was a little more ennobling. It made more sense that the Russian guy got himself blown up to save Topher Grace, which, by the way, bad move. But, spoiler alert.
Topher Grace is very good at hiding it.
The one that was dumber Japanese guy was fine. It was a little cliche, but he gets to show off his sword fighting and he dies. Fine. The one that was dumb was
Walton Goggins?
Well, Goggins, yeah, because they in his dialogue they sort of imply, oh, maybe he's a terrible person because he's a rapist and a prisoner and all this stuff.
Loves drugs too, yeah.
And then he just sort of like nobly sacrificed himself to try to kill the predator. And it's like, okay.
Well, he did get shot, so he didn't have much use running around the rest of the movie.
So I feel like it's different logic. Because, like, yes, logistically, he was going to die anyway, but it just felt like a very, like, oh, he's a nice guy, but also he's dead now, so, okay, that was fast.
Well, they implied he changed because his character is fighting Mahershala Ali to the death, and they break it up at the beginning of the movie. And when Mahershala Ali dies, he says, "Why'd you do that? You killed him." And then he's like, "You were fighting him like 5 minutes ago." He didn't say 5 minutes, obviously, but he said that was before I. So he showed growth as a character to becoming a more positive spirited character, more for the team.
All right, in general, I guess you could argue it fits the realism of the forward-moving plot, but killing off your ensemble so quickly at the end was made it feel less essential than.
Let me ask you this then: would it have been better if they picked off two of them? Danny Trejo gets uses a booby trap to get killed and gets killed.
Definitely didn't need Danny Trejo in this movie.
And Mahershala Ali gets, like we talked about, killed in that one scene by himself.
Yeah.
What would you have preferred if they got more picked off one by one than the kind of rushed picking off that happens from the Russian guy, Walton Goggins, the Japanese guy?
It's a fair question. So if I had to pick between those two, and the story was fairly similar, yeah, I think I would have preferred more of a spread out death thing, and I would have cut Lawrence Fishburne. But see, now I'm just rewriting the whole movie. But
yeah, I thought there'd be more picking up one by one myself, not just because the first two guys were picked off, but that seemed more like the Predator's style. There's a big gap between, I guess, maybe the mercenaries are really good at hiding themselves, staying low, and preventing the Predators from finding them. I thought the Predators would pick them off. So it's a bit slow before the Lawrence Fishburne trapped in the spaceship, but then it picks up almost too fast.
well, there is an explanation for that too. I guess we should get to it soon. It may involve that '70s show, but I think that apply that. Before we get to that, I have my first cartoonish nitpick little thing in this movie. So they're sort of running uphill out of Lawrence Fishburne's space dungeon or whatever.
Yeah, they get to the top of a mountain. That's where Walton Goggins
Wait, hold on.
dies. Okay.
We're getting there. Before that, there's a ball of fire from the explosions in the space thing, and it's sort of like chasing them up, and they get out of the mountain and they get out of the way, and the fire, they miss it.
Mm-hmm.
The way they shot it and the acceleration of the explosion, they all would have died.
Yeah, it wasn't synced up perfectly. I don't know if that's it's got a very Hungarian name. Director problem or
Yes, I think.
Troublemaker Studios problem.
Talk about the end, but yes, I was disappointed this was not a Robert Rodriguez film, which I thought it was when I first started watching it.
No, I know he was involved, but he gave some other guy a chance who hasn't done anything in America since. I don't think. I looked at his filmography a little bit. Nimrod and Tal or something.
It's definitely Nimrod, or however you say it in Spanish. But yeah.
It's like a thing because of the Bible, Nimrod.
Yes, it's not. It doesn't mean idiot in the biblical sense.
Boy, did the English language ruin that name.
It's like everyone's favorite biblical character, douchebag. Never remember that guy.
Let me see if he's done anything in America since. Oh, he did a Liam Neeson film in 2023 called Retribution, which all Liam Neeson's films blend together. So
Odds that Retribution was actual retribution for Liam Neeson movies. Negligible.
Right. That's all Looney's movies are is revenge and
No, but
retribution.
literal retribution, like make good on making bad movies before.
Oh, it's more literally.
So anyway, we're talking about the killing of the characters. We can skip a lot of this movie now. So I have a logical question about. I mean, I think we said it out loud or just whatever. You can figure it out. But so Topher Grace is not all that he seems. He's such a versatile actor.
Yeah.
So I thought they were gonna say Topher Grace was a predator, which I would have liked better. But instead, he's. Okay, let me take my guess. And you can correct me. He's a human
Yes.
that was culled from a previous loop of this hunting, dangerous game thing, and the predators told him, "Stay close to." This is the weird part to me. Stay, because if his mission is to be extrapolated based on the movie, it was just to generally stay close to the heroes so the predators can find them. But then he pulls out a scalpel with an hallucinogen on it and stabs people so that they can stay dead for the predators to kill them. Why didn't he do that in the first part of the movie?
He would have been gunned down if he did. He had to wait for a spot.
Okay, here's my. Okay, go ahead. Are you done?
I mean, I didn't even know that they reveal he's been on the planet longer than the rest of them or something.
I was just inferring, because how else would the predators tell him to do stuff?
So he's in communication with the predators?
Why would he do that? Why would he do all that stuff?
Well, he poisoned Sonia Braga's character because he's a horrible serial killer, and that.
No, it was more than that. It was definitely more than that. The predators somehow told him to help out with the hunt.
They said that in the movie?
That's what I remember.
He says, after he stabs her, he says, "You know what? Now you know why they brought me here."
Yeah, I thought that meant that brought him here as an agent of the predators.
I thought it was because he's a sadistic serial killer.
Well, at the very, if I'm wrong, which is possible, unlikely, but possible. The movie did not do a very good job explaining any of that, because if he's supposed to be this totally evil serial killer who does evil things, they should have really played that up a lot bigger and earlier in the movie.
But it was too crowded.
No, but well, okay. Forget building it up earlier. When they reveal it, they gotta lay it on a little thick that he's just a crazy killer who likes killing people, because that was not what it played off as. It seemed very methodical and almost boring. So anyway, okay, well, I guess I was gonna make a point.
How would you lay it on thicker?
Like a more, so maybe not Sonia Braga or whatever her name is, but these, tertiary character is still alive. He gets like a knife and he sort of like he goes and he goes like and starts like stabbing their insides, and entrails come out and stuff. And it's like he's like smiling with glee, his blood splashed on his face, stuff like that. It seems like I know that people like what's his name, the serial killer who would eat people.
Dahmer?
Yeah, Dahmer is a lot like I guess if you prepackage this to a serial killer profile, he's kind of Dahmer-ish with his methodology. Gently kill someone and then eat their body or whatever, or just play with their body after they're paralyzed and stuff. But yeah, he seemed too in control, which I know serial killers are sometimes, but it played off like he was just normal. So that's why I thought he was an agent of the predators. So I'm not gonna make a point that's possibly totally invalid, but if he was an agent of the predators, it did make sense to me, because the whole point of the predator oeuvre is that they don't want to kill people with an advantage like your normal movie monster. They want a fair hunt, so that whatever happens is fair. So it wouldn't make sense to tell Topher Grace, hey, can you just like rig this at the end?
Yeah.
But I mean, it would sort of be an interesting twist because people think the Predators are noble, but maybe they're not. But so I still think I mean, that's the hardest thing to argue is things you think are factual evidence in a movie. But I still think what I saw was what I saw. But whatever, you're probably right. But I don't know. So I guess just kind of getting to the end of the movie because I mean, wait a minute. Two things. What happens to Topher Grace? Because I know Adrian Brody stops the scalpel with the hallucinogen on it or whatever, and does he kill him?
Yeah, he's dead.
Does Adrian Brody kill him?
I believe so. He doesn't throw him to a predator to get killed or something. I think he kills him.
Oh yeah. So the thing that was weird, I get so
Before the big fight with Adrian Brody and the last predator.
okay. I want one more bonus question because I was watching the movie and it kind of blinked for a second. It was very fast, but Adrian Brody goes up the hill and he runs over and he sees the gigantic Predator spacecraft. Why did he not end up getting on the spaceship?
I guess they didn't say explicitly, but I guess he figured it was rigged. They wouldn't let the humans that they brought on in the first place to the planet risk getting to it and flying off. So Predator technology, I imagine, is more advanced than human technology in like every way. So there's probably some sort of, getting way into the weeds of the potential Predator technology here, but sort of mechanism for detecting when a human's trying to operate the system and then self-destructing shortly thereafter.
Oh, no, you saw Predator Killers, right?
Yeah.
In that movie, humans operate Predator spacecraft with no problem.
Well, obviously that one was rigged to blow up because the Predator pushes button and blows up the ship.
Which kind of plays into what I was thinking, because they talk about earlier in the movie the plan to take a spaceship. If Topher Grace was a spy, he could have relayed that to the Predators.
Could have, but the last bad Predator saw what was happening, and because they all have all these computers on their arms. He could have had a thing that tied to a spaceship and a destruct a spaceship
Alright,
on his
I got it.
on his wrist or something.
Yeah. I like my movie better where there's a spy, but whatever. Actually, okay, if it happened, which it may not have, if Topher Grace was a spy, I actually think that'd be, like I said, that makes no sense because of but maybe it makes a twist that you think Predators are fair, but they cheat. Isn't that the fairest way to play a game at all? Is to cheat. Yeah. Anyway,
I don't want to play anything with you now, Al.
shall we play a game? How about dog kisses?
Okay.
Okay, so
podcast evolve.
Rosie Brew, we had to get on the podcast. Okay, so the movie kind of ends. I don't know. They defeat the Predators. So here's the part that was weird to me too, because I'll make my full statement, then you can have the floor. But they win, and she's recovering from the neurotoxin that was on the scalpel from Topher Grace, and they sort of sit there all night, and then after the night's over, they stand up, and Adrian Brody's like, and they're watching the new recruits come in on their parachutes, and he's like, let's find a way off this planet, and they walk off together. Like, why didn't they leave or something in the night? They thought they were safe sleeping there all night?
I might have been exhausted. Adrian Brody was running around with mud on himself the whole night fighting the last predator, and like you said, had the neurotoxin. So my theory, and I'm making some on the fly, is that he was kind of huddling with her to keep her warm
Yeah.
because she was sick from the neurotoxin and letting her sleep it off, kind of. Um, so that's why they slept. And he probably assumed they were safe because they were getting chased by 3 predators, and the Russian guy killed one, the Japanese guy killed the other, and then the Adrian Brody killed the third in the big final battle.
Yeah. So this movie sort of ends, I wouldn't say ambiguously, but with the softer version of sequel bait, because they're like, oh, let's find a way out this planet, and they go, and there was no like cut to the Predator homeworld, no cut to something else on a secondary plane.
But there was the, what do you call it? The predator noise. The
Isn't that exactly?
What is it?
Like that? I don't know.
What do you call it?
It's hard to do. The clicking, yes, I get yes. I don't know.
clicky, clicky, which have been passed in terms of pop culture clicking monsters with Last of Us, but
Ancient anecdote. Where was this clicking?
screen goes dark, and before the credits pop up, there's clicking. They're predator clicking.
Okay, that could be diegetic, or that could just be like this is a Predator movie. Ooh, chaka chaka chaka.
I took it as there's additional predators on the planet that could be hunting Adrian Brody and Sonia Braga. So
Well, obviously, if they're setting, I mean, I don't think if they're sending out new people to get killed, I assume that there's some pipeline where predators keep coming in to kill people. Even
it's not clear if it's like their home planet or not.
no, I think it's a game reserve. But Lawrence Fishburne says in his rambling monologue, he's like, I killed one in the first wave, and I killed something in the third wave, or something like that. He just keeps going on.
I've been here for 7 seasons, 10 seasons, or how many seasons he says.
So it seems like it's a kind of the equivalent of the early 20th century sort of safari hunting trips. I mean, it still happens now, but anyway, just keep coming in, get out. Yeah. So anyway, yeah, I think this movie would have definitely had a little more impact if they could have been like, MCU sort of thing where it's like they're showing the deployment of a new Predator to kill Adrian Brody or something. But obviously, I'm sure whoever owns the Predator license was like, yeah, these Predator sequels are not working out, so good luck, and we'll see what happens. And they couldn't really say for sure Predators 2 was going to happen, because obviously it didn't.
Yeah. Who knows what the plan was at the beginning? I guess if anything's popular enough, there could be sequels, especially for an action movie. But
I think they were kind of like, let's not promise anything, but yeah, I definitely think that was on the table. I mean, it was a good, because get to our reviews, but it's a pretty good movie. I think it was much better in the first half than the second half, but definitely showed promise. I would have liked to have seen a continuation of that sort of filmmaking technique. But, yeah. So I have special bonus awards. Try to spice up this ending, but before that, give your review and what specific audience type you would recommend this movie to, or not.
it was a fun action movie. I recommend people like action movies. It's for anyone who likes the Predator movie, any of the Predator movies. And for most people, the only one they know of is the Arnie one, but
Still the best one, yeah.
recommend for that. For a broader audience, it's not like such a good action movie. Kind of like use Mad Max Fury Road as like someone who doesn't like action movies could like that movie. It's not like that level. It's above average action movie. I think is very appealing for action movie fans. Anyone who likes serious gunplay type, I don't know, that type of movie.
Yeah, I mostly agree. this is not. I'm not as probably as much as you or most men. I'm like Rosie. A fan of generic action movies, but I really liked the sort. It was very novel-like, kind of like the Most Dangerous Game. To Adrian Brody walking around with a gun with no backstory, no explanation at all, and the movie falls apart when it tries to sort of soften back into a generic movie, sort of like sneak it back in halfway through. Lawrence Fishburne stuff was, ugh. And the ending was very muddled and darkly shot. I thought the movie really peaked early on, and yeah, I'd recommend this to people like who are diehards who see multiple Predator movies and just interested. And it's not bad, and if you're watching with an open mind, knowing that it's not perfect, it's a decent way to pass a entertainment based afternoon. Definitely not critically recommended, but it's solid. So let's do some awards. This might be a disaster, but I'll go first because explain. So first, most valuable person. It can be a person or it could be an actor or a character in the movie that you thought made the movie the most valuable. And I'll just throw out an obvious one and say, Adrian Brody's performance was solid, and it was partially the direction, but yeah, I like that part.
Yeah, I can't go with anyone else. No, there's no such an awesome supporting character that they rise above. A lot of movies have that, but this movie doesn't. I don't know. I don't mean this to be like sheeple sort of conservative garbage, but it's like a shepherd and the sheep in terms of the noise nine, or how many people there were. I should have counted before we recorded. But anyways, yes, I don't think anyone rises above Adrian Brody, so he's the most. Royce / Adrian Brody is the most valuable person in this movie.
Now, least valuable person, actor or character, they were like, eh. I don't know what you're gonna say. Honorable mention for sure, Topher Grace, because God. But I have to say Lawrence Fishburne because I was kind of excited when he showed up, and I think it was mostly the writing of the character and the dialogue and that lazy ass thing about the schizophrenic personality thing, and this poorly shot base he lives in and stuff. It just really dragged down the movie. I was confused why it was there, and I felt miserable. So Larry Fishburne, I like you a lot, but not in this movie.
Yeah, it would have been even worse if it wasn't Lawrence Fishburne, to be honest, because he is a very talented actor. I think he boosts most of the movies he's in.
Yes.
I'm not saying it wouldn't be like a worse actor would be better, but it did feel like you get excited, like, oh my god, it's a big, almost like a stunt casting when he took off his helmet, his Predator helmet, to reveal it was him. Oh my god, arguably the most famous actor. He's more famous than anyone else in this movie. Maybe Adrian Brody surpassed him. He has multiple Oscars now, but yeah, I agree. He's just too weird, and it's not his fault. It's the screenwriter's fault, but he's used to speed up things, which would have been better. This movie would have been better if it kept the same pace throughout.
Okay, and let's try favorite moment in the movie where you're like, that was awesome, or I enjoyed that, or whatever. You go first.
Let's see.
Could be a scene or a brief moment or whatever.
Yeah. It's a difficult one because nothing really rises above anything else. I guess I would say geez, this is hard. But for the sake of picking something, I would be the wrong choice or whatever. But even though I've alluded to the fact I didn't like when it picked up, I thought giving Yakuza guy the sword fight was cool. So I'll say that.
You know what's cool? Kudos to that actor. I don't know anything about him, but he definitely elevated the skill with the sword and stuff. But I was trying to think of something different, but I mentioned it already in the review. But uh, Adrian Brody seemingly running away to let them get killed, so you get a vantage point on shooting the predators on that first encounter. There were a lot of cool encounters with Adrian Brody sort of skulking around very logically that I enjoyed. Logic is good. All right. I'm sure a couple more awards, and we'll prep the awards segment better next time. All right. I don't want to point at the camera, but I like pointing. All right. So next, oh yeah, we got to talk about a movie next week. I wrote a hilarious segment about this. So the show Saturday Night Live.
I don't like where this is going to end up, but yes, I'm aware of this show. It's been around for 50 years or however long.
You know this young plucky cast member, Danny Aykroyd.
Oh, but I definitely don't like where this is going. Yes, everyone knows what Dan Aykroyd. Right?
Okay.
Just
So
get to
remember this movie in the early '80s where he had a
We're watching Blues Brothers again. Yes.
like you're kind of ruining my joke, but
Oh.
he had a crew of individuals who solved problems and busted them. If you will,
Now I'm confused because
busting makes you feel good.
it's obviously Ghostbusters, but
What if what if those group of individuals were prostitutes and Danny Aykroyd played a reluctant pimp? That's right, we're gonna watch Dr. Detroit. I've heard it's bad, but it's got an original song by the band whose shirt I'm wearing.
oh my God, this is worse than Sex and the Other Man, or whatever that movie is called.
It's probably actually better than that movie. 'Cause that movie was really bad, but hey, you can't all watch prestige action movies. So I don't know what the streaming is for the fans at home, but Google Watch Dr. Detroit. That's what I always do. So until then, Twin Bill.
I
Woo! No, stop recording first.